Back Classic Game Room on Patreon!
Vanished from Earth Classic Game Room broadcasts from the Intergalactic Space Arcade on its never-ending mission to review everything. That's right, kids. On the same game system where you'll find Super Metroid, Super Mario Kart, and Super Mario World is the Super Aquatic Games starring the Aquabats. Who are these imposter Aquabats? Google them. The real Aquabats are people in blue suits. I don't know who these creatures are, but the guy in the middle is James Pond from the James Pond games. What's going on here? I'm so confused. Seika! Welcome to Classic Game Room for the review of the Super Aquatic Game starring the Aquabats. Starring the Aquabats. I thought they were a group on Yo Gabba Gabba. Apparently they got their own game. Maybe. I don't know what this game is very confusing. Let's go to training. It's like track and field if track and field was underwater and terrible. 100 meters splash. To play on words, and I'll be playing it with auto fire. Anybody want some Shasta? I got more where that came from. Goes well with an all-rush mixtape and some Space Invaders, so I hear. Oh look, I won! That's great. Love this game. Woo! New record! This one is a kid's game, obviously, but only for kids whose parents hate them because it's terrible. In Super Aquatic Games, you'll find 8 different underwater events inspired by track and field. Honestly, you'd be better off playing track and field 2 for the NES. That game is great, especially with the NES Advantage. Anyway, we'll start off with the 100-meter splash, which works well with auto fire. You just hold down the button, it does all the work for you. Does it matter? Let's play the only one of these events which is even remotely tolerable. It's feeding time! Which would have made a good Atari 2600 game back in the day if they didn't make it look like this. Feeding time is a decent minigame. The rest of them are just terrible, but in feeding time you have to manage your bucket full of candy and the fish that you're going to kill with said candy. You really should not be feeding fish candy. I don't know how much you know about fish, but they're not supposed to eat candy. You're supposed to eat them, and then chase them with candy. We'll be playing James Ponda's workout. Get it? Ponda ain't got a motor in the back of his Honda. Actually, it was funny. There's a training mode where you can practice each of the events, and a 2-player mode, which of course I wasn't about to torture any of my friends with this game. In the competition mode, you have to qualify in each of the events. You win medals, and events like this one are just nonsensical. Like, you're supposed to pop these fish up and catch them in buckets or something, and then the green things come out, you jump on them, and then they'll shoot you up into the balloons. But, like, none of it is terribly well tied together. This is a very half-baked game at best. James Pond was alright in his own games. I'm not so sure about this one, but I do have... Actually, I am sure it's terrible. But anyway, I do have a Classic Game Room shout-out and thank you going to Spencer from Roxbury, Connecticut. Thank you, Spencer, for sending the Super Aquatic Games to the show. I never know if people send games because they love them or they hate them and they just think they'll be funny on the show, so I hope you don't like this one. I mean, it does have... It has no redeeming qualities at all, actually. Well, that's not entirely true. The feeding time game is alright. If for some reason you're forced to spend eternity playing the Super Aquatic games on the Super Nintendo, At least you've got feeding time. I mean, come on, just look how cheerful these fish are. They're about to eat candy and die. It's Super Aquatic Games.
Classic Game Room has been brought to you by How to Make a Video Game Review Show That Doesn't Suck, Ethel the Cyborg Ninja, and Jesus the Coked Up Chicken on Amazon.
Welcome to the Lord Carnage Club, being shouted from within. A turbo volcano! Starting with Billy and Andy Schleiss. Derek Langley. Michael and Ariana Nelson. Steven Chucknick. Al Stever. Jason Goy. Sergio Matthias Hergert. Sean Zoltek. Rick DeBarros. Philip Strabenmuller. Jack Stavris. Ohad Kane. And Tiago Pereira dos Santos Silva from Porto, Portugal. Tiago Pereira dos Santos Silva from Porto, Portugal.